Please explain the statement arogya parama labha. Is it referring to the mental health or to the physical health, which is impossible to achieve or maintain?
I suppose arogya parama labha, that the Buddha says, labha is a general term. It is only a comparative thing. Parama labha means the greatest profit or the greatest achievement. So parama labha doesn't mean that it is 100% right, but it is the best of all. So then arogya can mean mental and physical. So you have to train the mind and you have to look after your body. So therefore there are two things to do. Then only you are without, if there are no defilements in the mind, then the mind is very receptive. If the body is not having any serious sickness, then the body is also receptive. So that is what is meant by arogya parama labha. So it's only a comparative thing. It is not 100% sure thing. It's only the arahant who can achieve 100% of this parama labha. So we are not. If you are not arahant, you can't get that parama labha, but you can get it as far as such things are possible. Say as far as your mind is free from defilement and your body is free from pain and suffering, then that is what is meant by parama labha. So even if you are not arahant, you can achieve success if you keep the mind free from defilements such as greed, hate, ignorance, fear, me, I, mine, ego, self, selfishness, those are the things. Or anger, hatred, things like that. So one has to be very mindful of one's mind to keep it healthy. Otherwise, you succumb to the mind. Then when anger arises, you can't get it off. So that's a disease. Or when attachment or ego or pride arises, if you are not having mindfulness, then you get sick. Mind is sick. So how to keep the mind without being sick is the entire Buddha Dharma. So the Buddha Dharma, the Eightfold Path, is showing how to keep the mind without being sick. The Arahant has the most peaceful mind, but people in the world can't achieve all that. But up to a point, if they keep to the Eightfold Path, gradually the Sotapatti, Sakadagami, Aragami, Arahat, and that little by little you will gain the purity of mind. It's the purity of mind is what is healthy, and the body also must be healthy. So that is the parama labha, or comparatively, the labha is not what people talk about. They say labha is if you gain wealth, but the Buddha said wealth is not the best gain. The best gain is health. Health means both mental and physical. Okay, is it okay enough?
Yes, Bhikkhuni, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
Next, I'll move on to the next question.
Yes.
What is nibbana? At which point does one achieve the state of nibbana? And why is nibbana referred to as the parama sukha?
Ah. So now Parama, the highest wealth, highest health, and Parama Sukha, the highest happiness. Sukha means happiness, can we say? So nibbana means the mind is perfectly healthy. Body of course breaks down, you can't help it. But the mind does not break down. The mind is not obsessed by all those defilements. So that is why the mind is the nibbana is such a mind. That's what the arahant has. He has no more defilements in the mind. He has no prides and prejudices. He has no greed, hatred, and ignorance. Uh, he has nothing to lose. He has nothing to gain. He is equanimous and he is quite satisfied all the time. He is never unhappy because he knows that the worldly wealth is not what is going to give him happiness. He has given up all the worldly things, but his mind is quite healthy. People would think he's staying in the jungle, sleeping on under trees, and living that they are suffering. But actually, he is not suffering. Once the, the king Kosala came to the Buddha and he said he couldn't sleep the whole night. He has the best bed you can think of. Then the Buddha said, I slept under the trees and I was perfectly, before I can just put my head down, I go to sleep. Because my mind is so calm and restful. So, actually the Arahant is the one who is enjoying all the benefits. Of course, but the body breaks down and that also up to a point. In the Bojjhanga you see, then they do Bojjhanga meditation, mm, that is Sati, Dhamma, Vicaya. They are mindful all and then Dhamma, Vicaya, if ever a thought arises, they know that it is unsavory or not necessary, it is the past or the future or something, and then they just dismantle the whole process and then they are always happy because their minds are free. So to achieve that is a gradual process. So first you have to go on the Eightfold Path, then you have to get the first sainthood, then you feel what nibbana is because you are not that obsessed by all the worldly things. When you get to the second, you feel much better. You feel more happiness because you don't hang on to the things of the world and get involved. And so, but you still can lead a household life, have wife and children, and earn money in a way. Um, uh, some practice samma sankappa, that is mind is pure, samma vacha, the words are good and easy, samma kammanta, the work at hand is not complicated, it is easy, and samma ajiva, your profession is not hard and difficult, but it is easy. So that person will choose that not to earn money, but to preserve, have just enough money for him to exist. So therefore he is satisfied all the time. So that is what is satisfaction is what is called happiness. How much money you have or how much work you do, if there is no satisfaction, then there is no happiness. So every moment of the day, you have to learn how to be satisfied and how to be happy with whatever you have. So even if the whole world is breaking down, your mind is not breaking down. Your mind is happy with what you have. So if you once there was a story like that. Again, King Kosala came to the Buddha And the Buddha said, asked him a question. He said, there are four messengers coming from north, south, east, west. They all bring the same message. There is a huge boulder rolling along and destroying all the things, the vegetation, people, everything. It is rolling along, and very soon it will come to you. So all four are telling him the same thing. And the Buddha said, supposing if that happens, what are you going to do? He said, nothing, because I can't get my army or my security or anything, because I can't fight that battle. So he said, what I would think is, I will stop worrying about the work at hand, but I will think of the good things that I can do for my next world. So one has to be like that when everything is breaking down, when we have no more interest in this world, then we can take to meditation, we can take to learning the Dhamma, we can take to discussing the Dhamma, and then we can take to reading good books which can help you, and then all not for this world, for the next world. So you can give dana, you can be happy, you can be generous, you can be loving, caring, sharing. All those things are non-greed, non-hate and wisdom. Now even listening to this, is there greed in your mind? No. There is no greed. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Bhikkhuni, we can hear you.
So, is there greed in your mind at this moment?
No, we don't.
Do you have hatred or ignorance? No, because you are listening to the Dhamma. So, this kind of occupation, at this moment, your mind is free from greed, hatred, and ignorance. But when you get into the world, it's quite a different story. Your mind gets obsessed by greed, hatred, and ignorance, and all the defilements. So they are the ones that give you all the trouble. Mental disharmony, fights, then keeping things in the mind and regrets and all kinds of nonsense. So to keep the mind free, one has to learn the Dhamma, one has to live the Dhamma, so that all the time they are enjoying doing that. I remember I was in the university, and then I had hundreds of jobs to do at home and everywhere, but then what I was engrossed in the library reading all the Tripitaka books. That took my mind off the ordinary problems. That was an occupation which had no greed, hatred, and ignorance. So we have to find that kind of occupation, how to keep your mind free from greed, hatred, and ignorance, from fear. So you have to relax. The whole world is crushing, that's true. It was always there, not only now. Now it is more acute, but even then the useless trying to fight the world or correct the world. The Buddha never ever asked anybody to look after the world. He only said look after your mind. When your mind does not respond with anger, hatred, greed, and all that towards the world, your mind is at rest. So all meditation, all Dhamma is focus geared to that. How to keep your mind free from defilements. So that is the Parama Sukha. Is that what it is? Is that enough?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhikkhunin Vahansa, at which point does one achieve the state of nibbana? Is it
Yeah.
at which
Yeah.
point? Is it at the after arahat? state, is that what is
No,
called?
no. At Sotapatti stage, the first sainthood, there is a irreversible reaction. That is to say, you will never get back to what it used to be. In the sense that you have given up some of the most difficult uh, uh, fetters you have broken down. So it is not a thing that will again go back to it. It will never go back. For instance, once also tapati, you will never ever think of the sakkaya ditti, vicikicca, silabbata, paramasa. So even it is a permanent mm, understanding and realization that once you realize that, you will never get back to the original way of thinking. So to that extent, you are pure. Then when you get to the Sakadagami, Kama Raga and Patika, that is uh, sensual pleasure and anger becomes decreases, it becomes half. So you are having less anger and less mm, sensual feelings. So you don't uh, depend on the world for your happiness. You depend on your mind for your happiness. So by training the mind and understanding that the happiness that comes from outside by wealth and people, friends and from the six sense doors, that happiness is nothing compared to the generation of your own happiness in spite of the world. So even if you have metta bhavana or you keep your mind occupied with anicca bhavana, then then you don't allow your mind to get involved with the world affairs. So little by little, you develop your own sense of security, your own happiness, because your response to the world is not with greed, hatred, and ignorance, and fear, and doubt, and that kind of thing. So in the second stage in Sakadagami, they give up halfway. Uh, Kama Raga Patika. Kama Raga is having enjoying sensual pleasure. Patika is having anger and resentment. Those two become less. So he enjoys much more than the Sotapatti because his mind is not obsessed at any time with anger and hatred mm, and attachment. Then in the third stage, Anagami, he gives it up totally. For him, Kamaraga and Patika doesn't exist. He doesn't want any more sensual pleasure to for his enjoyment. He develops his own pleasure by his generosity, by his metta, by his um, feeling of satisfaction, and under any circumstance he doesn't get angry. Isn't that a beautiful happiness? Wonderful happiness? Uh, Whatever people do, you don't get angry. It is the anger that is hurting you. It is the pride that is hurting you, not the world. So that is how we have to think. Mm, Your response is what is hurting you. The way you respond to the world is what is hurting you. If somebody is scolding me and I don't care, and I take it easy and I think something wrong with him and I just leave it alone without responding angrily and talking back and all that. And then suddenly you find that it has fizzled off. That person has said and done things but you even don't remember it because you have given it up to such an extent. So their response to the world is so good that they don't harbor grudges, they don't. So at that point, if you have, you can't live in the world in the sense that you can't earn money. And it seems there was one person, it is recorded that he was an anagami, but he had to look after his blind mother and father, and he was a potter, so he had to earn money. So what he did was he used to make pots and leave it, and then they pay anything, any amount, and then they take the pots away. So that way he was an anagami still earning money, but to that extent. After that, there is not even anything. Then he becomes an arahant. He doesn't stay in the world anymore, and he goes begging and eats his food, and he doesn't care whether the world is in trouble because he has nothing to do with the world, and he knows that he has no more rebirth, and he doesn't have to do kusal he never does, but he doesn't do kusal even because there is no more rebirth. What is the use of doing kusal? So he just keeps quiet. So that if there is a need, he will do it, but otherwise he keeps quiet. Then he will go around with his begging bowl and eat something and just be. But that doesn't mean he's not happy. He's the happiest. Because he has no more anger, hatred, fear, jealousy. Those are the things that hurt people, not the outside world. The way you react and respond to the world is what hurts you. If someone does something and you have no anger, there is no pain and suffering. So, this is a gradual process. The more you live the Dhamma, that's what the Buddha says, Dhammo have rakkati dhammachari. It means the Dharma will protect you. Dharmatave will protect you. You live the Dhamma and don't worry about the world. The world will be bad anyway. Anyway, we have to die. So, if you have to die, you might as well die. It is not death that is the problem. It is the rebirth that is the problem. So the Kusal Rajuru, when he was asked the question, when all four sides are giving you this bad news, he said, not my army, not my security. I have to forget all that and think of my next birth. And then do all the possible good so that at least I have a good rebirth. So, so we don't know how much, I don't know how much more to say.
Bhikkhuni, there's another question that came in.
Yes.
When we were talking about Sotapatti and Can you please explain very briefly? I know you have done this before. Sakkaya, ditti, vicikicca, and silabbata paramasa, which the first three letters.
Yeah, sakkaya ditti is sakkaya ditti. Ditti is a view, wrong view. Sat means sadakalika. Kaya means there is some physical thing inside you, the soul, and that is a part of the maker, and that is a wrong view. So when you are Sotapatti, because you know anicca, everything arises, passes away. Everything arises, passes away. Mind arises and passes away. I don't know what's happening. Hello?
We can hear you very well, Bhikkhuni.
Okay. So when everything, whatever arises, it passes away. Is there anything left? There is nothing left. So when one is sotapatti, he understands that the mind arises and passes away, body arises and passes away, environment arises and passes away. If whatever arises passes away, what is left? Nothing. So he gets this idea that sakkaya ditti, that soul, that eternal soul is not there anymore. So that's the first thing you understand. Because all the God-fearing religions believe in a permanent soul. As soon as you understand everything is anicca or impermanent, you give up the idea of the soul. So that is a wrong view. Sakkaya ditti. Ditti is a wrong view. So you give up that view that there is something permanent in you. Then you realize that nothing permanent. Mind is changing, body is changing, environment is changing. There is nothing in the entire universe that is not changing. To that extent you understand, and therefore there is no such thing as a permanent soul which poses as a me, I and mine. What happens is me, I and mine is not due to a permanent soul, but due to your greed, hatred and ignorance. So you give up that idea of a permanent soul. That is by understanding anicca, impermanence. So then you give up sakkaya ditti vicikicca. Then at once you realize this anicca is a right thing, and there is nothing nitya sukha atma. So before the Buddha, the entire world belongs, even now, believes that looking out for nitya, they look out for permanent happiness. Subha, they look for good and nice, beautiful. And sukha, they look for physical, mental happiness. And atma, they think that there is something called atma, uh, that is permanent. All these were the current ideas that were prevalent at the time of the Buddha. And when they said Nitya, Buddha said Anitya. When they said Subha and beautiful, the Buddha said Asubha, ugly and uh, 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 most, what can I say, the whole body really is not Subha, is not nice to look. It is nice to look on the surface, but inside there are so many miserable looking things that are, the body is so dirty and you can't even look at it if you open up the body. You will run, you don't want to look at it. That's the body that you believe is beautiful. So the Buddha said, when they said Subha, the Buddha said Asubha. When they said Sukha, he said Dukkha, just the opposite. And I think now most people understand Dukkha than when you were well off. So as you understand that that there is no permanent happiness in this system, then you don't seek happiness. You just get satisfied with whatever you have, and of course do your duties. As a layperson, you have to earn money. You have to support yourself because you can't go with a begging bowl. So you will do as much work as necessary for you to exist, but you won't be overdoing or underdoing. You will be doing just enough with a lot of metta and lot of compassion, metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. With all that you will be working and earning enough money to survive. So it doesn't matter how much you earn. You can earn a lot, you can earn a little. Only thing, it must not give you stress and anger and hate and that kind of thing. So, uh, um, sakkaya ditti vicikicca, Then once you get this idea, you have no more doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the path. That's only if you follow the path and you enjoy the blissful nature of having given up, letting go unnecessary problems of the world. So you learn how to let go of all the problems and then yet have a mind full of metta, karuna, that is compassion, loving kindness, altruistic joy, and equanimity. So, under any circumstance, you are satisfied. So, sakkaya ditti. When you get that satisfaction, then only you realize that the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the path are right. Until that you will be wondering whether what the Buddha said or following the path, will it give me that kind of happiness, and you will be having doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. As soon as you enter the path, you have no more doubt because you are enjoying a blissful thing and you are enjoying much more than when you are partying and eating in all the restaurants. Because you now eat whatever is available and still you are more happy. Uh, now, for example, supposing you spend the whole night dancing, singing, and enjoying. At the end of the day, you are more unhappy because you are tired out and you have spent money and your energy, everything. But this 1 hour you are listening to the Dhamma, you are not tired out, you are not angry, you are not hurt, you have not lost anything, but you have been nice and peaceful and calm. So that's the calm that you get by living the Dhamma, by listening to the Dhamma, by living the Dhamma, by giving up, becoming selfish, ego, and giving up all defilements. So, sakkaya, then only you believe that the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the path is right. So until you live the Dhamma, you can't understand the, the happiness that the Sotapatti can get. So the Sotapatti has no sakkaya ditti. He doesn't have have any idea that there is a permanent soul because he believes in anicca. So, vicikicca, he has no more uh, doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the path because he's living it and he has experienced the happiness. Silabbata paramasa, he will never more go and do all kinds of rituals to get happiness. So he only knows that purifying his mind is the only way he can get happiness. Okay? Those are the
Sadhu,
things that, yeah.
sadhu, Bhikshuni Mahansa.
Yes.
Thank you for that explanation. Okay, I'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Venerable Bhikkhuni Mahansa, does feeling arise as a result of perception or vice versa? Please explain.
Perception arises because of the six sense doors. You have to either see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, or feel the bodily touch or your memory. If those things give you perception that there are sights, sounds, smells, tastes, bodily touch, and then memory is coming, then you perceive those things. So it is due to the six sense doors that perception arises. Otherwise, you can't perceive anything. If you are blind, you can't perceive the sights. If you are deaf, you can't perceive sounds. Perceive is like recognition. So how to recognize sound if you are deaf? Like that, first They are the six sense doors that perceive. Without the six sense door, there is no perception. Okay?
Okay, Bhikkhuni. Thank you very much. I'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Please explain or give an introduction on marananusmathi, the cessation of the body bhavana, especially since a lot of people seem to be fearing COVID these days.
Marananusmathi. I have done this a little bit. Advan jivitam dvam maranam avasamaya maritabam marana paryosanam me jivitam jivitameva niyatam maranam niyatam. So it really means, always remember, jivitam aniyatam maranam niyatam. That is to say, life is uncertain, death is certain. These are two things that you have to understand. Whether you live less or more, death is certain, life is uncertain. So, any moment life can terminate and death, but definitely death will be there for sure. So when you understand that every living being will succumb in death, then you will not be so surprised when things go wrong and you have to die, you have to have sickness, death. They are inevitable. So just remembering that Advan Jivitan, that means life is uncertain. Dvam Maranam, death is certain. Avasam Maya Maritabha, one day we just have to die whether we like it or not. Maritabham, Marana Parivasam Sanam Me Jivita. This life ends up with death. There is nothing else that the life can look out for except death. So, Marina Parivasam Me Jivita. Jivita Mevaniyatam. This life is uncertain. Marananyatam. Death is certain. And also, you can think of all your ancestors. None of them survived. They all died. That includes the Buddha and Arahants also. So there is no way you can combat death. If you are born, you just have to die, whether it is sooner or later. So this reflection gives you marananusmathi, recollection of death. So when you know that you have to die, will you be more proud or less proud? When you know you have to die, yeah. When you know you have to die, will you be more angry or less angry? So less angry. So when you know that you have to die, will you be hanging on to all the miseries and then thinking of your prides and prejudices and how that one treated me or the other one treated me, how the world treated me, how my parents and people around, how the wife is treating me, how husband is treating me? None of those things matter very much to a person who knows that everybody must die and I will die just as well. So the only thing I will do is be kind and generous, loving, caring, sharing, so that at least I make good karma to deserve another rebirth, or else I go the path of the Buddha and get rid of the samsara for good. The Buddha always said, I don't recommend samsara even for the snap of a finger. This was said more than 2,500 years when he was in the midst of all the luxuries. But in spite of all the luxuries around, he still said this. So that is why you can't stop death, but you can stop rebirth. So the Buddha actually what he did was he found a way where you can stop rebirth. He couldn't find a way where you can stop death. So death is for sure. Our ancestors died, and that is the most certain thing in the world. So when you contemplate on death, your anger and your hatred and your prejudice and your ego and all these things, little by little, you give up. So it's a good meditation uh, if you want to contemplate on death. But that alone is not enough. You have to do metta bhavana as well. Because maybe at the end of this session, we will do the real meditation. 10 minutes we will leave for the meditation, and that
Okay.
we will do. Yeah.
Right. Then I'll quickly move to the next question. People
Yeah.
are living longer and slipping into dementia. Can meditation help stall or mitigate dementia?
Yes, the doctors and scientists are trying to make life better, but then the the medicine is more difficult than the disease most of the time. So you have to take the medicine, you have to see the doctors. So it comes in a package. So dementia is another disease because whole time you are worried about yourself, you are worried about the family, you are worried about your status, you are worried about all the others who died. Or that constant worry is what makes you dementia, I think. And then you become so nervous, and then you give up. So dementia and all other related sicknesses are mind oriented. That is why you have to keep a healthy mind. Healthy mind is not enjoying sensual pleasure but giving up. I don't want all the best things in the world. I am happy with what I get. If it is good also I am happy. If it's not good also I am happy. I'm not craving for all the best things in the world. So that way you come to terms with the world. You don't try to correct the world, but you see your own greed, hatred, and ignorance, and you bow out of the scene. So, so more important thing is not to get, but to giving up, giving up defilements. Giving up defilements is the only way you can really get happiness, because that happiness comes from within, not from without, not from the outside world. So it is a sure way of getting happiness. I don't know whether I have said for the question. Let me hear the question.
Question is, people are living longer and slipping into dementia. Can meditation help stall or mitigate dementia?
Dementia, once you get dementia, then you can't do any meditation because you are not able to concentrate for 1 minute. So before you get dementia only you can concentrate and meditate. When you are old and infirm, again you are so sick mentally, physically you are not fit, and there is no meditation that can be done unless you have practiced it and you have when you were younger. So once dementia and old age sets in, there is nothing you can do. You can just become generous and loving and kind, not so much meditation. But once dementia and old age, there is hardly anything you can do. The body is broken and breaks down, and the mind also breaks down. So that It's a useless. You can't do anything. You have to just forget about no
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
mindfulness.
Okay,
So
Master.
we have to start much before we get dementia or old age. Don't wait for old age and dementia to start meditation. You have to do it when you're up and alive. Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So the next question kind of brings us to the bhavana. How do we practice anicca bhavana? Is it
Ah,
in a seated position for a long period of time, like anapanasati, or continuously throughout the day, as everything we experience is anicca?
yeah, no, it is not for anapanasati. Not like, because anapanasati needs a seated posture. But this anicca is something you can see all the time. You see something and then next moment you see another thing. That means that one thing is gone and another thing has come. Millions of sights, millions of sounds, they come and go, they come and go. Sights, sounds, smells, taste, bodily touch, and memories. They just come and go. Millions of them. So, anicca is just to remind yourself these things come and go. They never stay. So, sights are impermanent, sounds are impermanent, smells are impermanent, tastes are impermanent, bodily touch is impermanent, and memories are impermanent. They merely come and go, come and go. If something comes and goes, what is there left? There are no residue. Everything comes and goes. That's it. So if you think there is something to achieve, it's only the memory you get. Yesterday I was teasing uh, Dilshan. Yeah, he's very fond of going and going to the jungle to see the tigers and take photographs. So I was telling, you have to take so much trouble to go and see the tiger. And the moment you have seen it, it has disappeared. If you want to see it again you have to go. You leave the tiger there and come back with only a memory. So it is only a memory you have. You have no more tigers, or maybe your photo. So everything you see just arises and passes away. If you want to see again you have to take the trouble to go and see it. If you want to see the tigers, again you have to go and take the trouble to go and see it. But as soon as you see it, then it has gone. Then you bring back only the memory or you bring back only the photo. You can't bring the tiger, tiger is there. So just like that, everything, we can't carry it again and again. So if you can carry it, then you can see it all the time. But that also is not very satisfying because you want to see different things. Once you see them, then you think better to go home and rest because you are tired of that. So the Buddha said, this dukkha arises when you are standing, you are tired of standing, then you think better to sit. When you are sitting, you are tired of sitting, then you better to stand and walk. And when you are walking, you are tired of walking, you don't want to walk anymore, you go to bed. And when you are lying down also after some time, it is so terrible you can't lie down anymore, so you get up. And whole time why are we changing postures? Because dukkha arises in every posture. So you want to change. So the same thing doesn't satisfy you all the time. So you are hungry, you eat. After you eat, you don't want to see the food even because you are not hungry and you are not you don't enjoy it at all. The food is good, but still you don't want it. So it comes to a point of uh, no return. Everything arises and passes away. If you want it again and again, you have to take the trouble to get it again and again. And then again you get tired of it and you don't want it anymore. So everything arises and passes away and nothing remains. So these all the sights are impermanent, all sounds are impermanent, all smells are impermanent, all tastes are impermanent, all bodily touch is impermanent, all memories are impermanent. They come and go, they come and go. And there's nothing to keep all. Even the memory is useless because it is just a past memory. It has no significance whatsoever. You are just fooling yourself thinking of your memories. uh, okay, I even don't know whether I can explain that. Do you need any more?
No, Bhikkhuni Mahansa. So those are all the questions we have today. Maybe
Uh,
we can
how,
do some meditation now. We have
how,
about
how
7 minutes.
how many minutes?
We have about 7, 8, 10 minutes we have.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. We will start with that same anicca bhavana that you can all the time imagine, do it. There is no seated posture necessary. So maybe you will close your eyes just to train and how to learn. So you will sit still and then you concentrate on what I say. Uh, Sights are impermanent, sounds are impermanent, smells are impermanent, tastes are impermanent, bodily touch is impermanent, memories are impermanent. They all come and go, they all come and go, they never stay. Sights are impermanent, sounds are impermanent, smells are impermanent, bodily touch is impermanent, tastes are impermanent, bodily touch is impermanent, uh, memories are impermanent. Now I'll give 1 minute or 2 minutes. Now you do it on your own. Okay, now we will get to the marananusmathi meditation. I will say it in a few words. After that, you do it on your own. uh, uh, Life is uncertain, death is certain. Life is uncertain, death is certain. Life ends up with death. adhvan jivitan dvam marnam avasam maya maritabban, that is say, at the end of it, I will die. I will die someday or other. Death is certain. And then all my ancestors died. Nobody is there. Whatever that is born will die. You can never stop death. Death is death is certain. Life is uncertain. Even the Buddha died. Even the Arahants died. There is no way you can stop death. Death is certain. But you can stop birth. If you stop birth, only death will stop. Until you are able to stop birth, you have to have death. There is no uncertainty. There is no escape whatsoever. If you are born, you have to die. So we will do it as a meditation. You can contemplate as you wish. Life is uncertain. Death is certain. All my ancestors died. We are sure to die. You can't stop death, you can stop rebirth. The Buddha stopped birth, he couldn't stop death. So this contemplation, again and again, maybe 2 minutes you sit and contemplate on your own. Death is certain, life is uncertain. At the end of our life is death. Everybody ends up with death. All our ancestors died. Nobody is there. I will die. I have to prepare more for death than for life. Because after that, we don't know where we are going. So that is why we have to be kind and good and generous and wholesome all the time. So life is uncertain, death is certain. We all have to die. All our ancestors died. Even the Buddha died. Even the richest, even the poorest, they all died. Now keep on contemplating on your own. So this contemplation on death makes you less angry, less foolish, less fearsome, and see the reality. And with wisdom, you become non. You develop non-greed, non-hate, and wisdom, and you give up all your prejudices and all your angers and hatreds, and then think we all have to die. We finish. Now we will do some metta bhavana because that is not so painful like anicca bhavana or marananusmathi. It is more consoling. That is uddang adocha tiriyancha asambadang averang asapatang sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitat. Above, below, and across. May all living beings be well and happy, free from pain and suffering, free from anger and hatred, free from enmity. May all living beings be well and happy. Above, below, and across the entire universe. May all living beings be well and happy, free from pain and suffering, free from anger and hatred, free from enmity. May all living beings be well and happy. You contemplate on your own. Sadhu, sadhu. Is there any more time left?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I think we have come to the end of the session, Bhikkhuni Vahan, sir.
Yeah, these three meditations you can do at all times, but only anapanasati you have to be seated. So, metta bhavana, anicca bhavana, and marananusmathi you can practice anytime, seated, any posture, walking anytime, so that your mind is not going into the past and future and not getting involved with greed, hatred, and ignorance, and not involved with taking revenge and trying to correct other people. You merely let go at the whole world and just look after yourself. Then one of the monks came to the Buddha and said, I want to leave the robes because the whole time other monks, my senior monks are telling me, do this, don't do this, don't do this, do it. I have more trouble than when I stayed at home. I am going back home. Then the Buddha said, wait. You do one thing, only one thing. Don't do all that. That will look after your mind. So all these meditations are to look after your mind, to stop defilements from arising. So thank you very much, Sohani, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And Dilshan and all of you, I thank most sincerely, and we share merit with the divine beings. Akasatta cha Bhummata Devanaga Maitika Punyanta Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Loka Sasana